Are we ready to get moving? Okay, so today we're going to do a quick, well, not that quick, 15, maybe 10-minute flow. We are going to focus on inversions. So I want to help you guys get your headstand, your tripod headstand, maybe even your pincha, and that's what we're going to do today. So find your mat and let's get moving. The first inversion that we're going to practice today is the headstand. So just the regular headstand, crown of your head in the ground, heart above the head. We know how it goes. But the most important part about headstands and inversions is obviously that foundation of the pose. So for the headstand, you need to make sure that your arms are open to the width of your shoulders. So you go ahead and you measure that. Elbows under your shoulders, maybe go ahead and measure it using your arms. That's the best way to do it. Interlace your fingers and make sure to place the crown of your head on the ground. So you can go ahead and find out where the crown of your head is. If you place the palm of your hand starting where your brows are and where your fingers land, that's the crown of your head. So that is what you're placing on the ground. Again, elbows open to the width of your shoulders, interlace your hands, crown of your head in the ground. So once you're there, come up to your toes, you're lifting your knees off the ground, and you're going to try to stack your hips as you walk your feet in. So notice the difference between my hips here and trying to jump up from here, and then walking my feet towards my face so that my hips are aligned. So once you're there, there are a couple ways of just lifting using your core maybe. Strong arms to lift your feet up. That's one way to go with it. A more beginner way to maybe start it is kicking up, trying to keep your legs in an L, and from there extending both of your legs up to the sky. So once you're here, you can play with maybe finding the balance. Your legs are together, your feet are trying to touch the sky, your arms are strong all of the time. The weight of your body is not landing or it's not being held by your neck. It is solely being held by the strength in your core and your arms. So maybe you can play with bending one knee, maybe pedaling your knees forward, maybe even opening your legs and then playing with bringing them to touch. Once you're there, at any level that you're at, maybe then play with trying to calm down slowly using the force or the strength in your abs, maybe playing with extending your legs to slowly calm down. So that's for the headstand. That's the regular way of headstand. If you do it without a wall behind you and you feel like you're going to fall and you feel unsafe, then try it maybe with a wall behind you, or finding a buddy who can spot you and be your wall. That also works. So that's the most basic headstand. Then we can move to the tripod. So the tripod headstand, ideally you come into it from Prasarita Paottanasana, which is this pose. Legs are open, extended, feet are parallel to the shorter borders of your mat. Inhale, open your arms in a T, relax your shoulders, come down, hands on the mat. Try to land your forearms. If you're coming up to the headstand, or if you're coming to the tripod, you try to bring your hands in the same line of your feet. From there, again, finding the crown of your head on the ground, strong arms, find your core, to then maybe lift your legs. So the foundation for this pose, if what I just did seems impossible, then just try it through the regular entrance. So why is it called a tripod headstand? Because the foundation of your pose looks like a triangle, like a tripod. So the tripod headstand, it's called the tripod because your hands and your head make the figure of a triangle. So ideally your hands are the base, the foundation of your triangle, and then your head or the crown of your head is the tip of the triangle. So you go ahead and find it, your head forward, maybe measuring with your arms, and where your elbows are is where you're placing your hands. Make sure to open your fingers wide on the ground, strong arms again, come up or lift your knees, walk your feet forward to stack your hips, and then play again to maybe doing this, working it up using your core, or jumping it up. Always tightening your core. Arms are strong. Fingers are gripping the mat. Maybe you try to hold it up 5 breaths. Your feet are together and you're trying to touch up to the sky. Staying in your Ujjayi breath, victorious breath, always yogic breathing, inhaling and exhaling only through the nose, to then slowly find your abs to come back down. So that's the tripod and the regular headstand. So we can go ahead and spice it up a little. Obviously, my recommendation to you is that you try to conquer each pose before you move on to a next one. Conquering a pose does not mean that you only come up, but you're able to play with your legs in a way in which you stay stable with a foundation, a stable base or a stable foundation. So before you move on to the tripod headstand, maybe you first want to conquer the regular headstand where you're able to open and close your legs and just play around and stay stable. So the third inversion that I want to show you guys today is Pincha Mayurasana or forearm stand. For me, it was personally the hardest one to conquer because it takes a lot of strength in your arms and a lot of concentration. So the base of this pose, again, your arms are open to the width of your shoulders, so you go ahead and measure that. Your fingers are gripping the ground strongly. Maybe you want to play. Obviously, before you come up to this pose, try to incorporate it in practice in a way in which your arms are warmed up. You don't want to just step on your mat, go and do pincha, and then hurt yourself. You want to try to avoid that. So your arms are strong. That is why I'm telling you, maybe you want to do a little of this, or this, or this, playing with staying on your forearms to a point where they feel strong and ready for a liftoff. Something that usually happens when you're in this pose is that your shoulders sink. So that happens when you are not focusing enough in the strength or the focus that your arms need. So once you're here, try to feel it or try to notice how if I'm in pincha, my head is almost touching the mat. And look at the movement that I do. It's a tiny action that goes such a long way, going from here to here. So lifting your legs together up to the sky, trying to not sink your shoulders down. A movement that looks kind of like this. You're here, you try to lengthen, pushing down with your hands to separate or bounce off to unsink your shoulders. So that's for Pincha Mayurasana. Those 3 inversions are a great way for you to practice, to lift yourself, to invert yourself, to bring your heart above your head and just try to play a little with your practice and enjoy it at the same time. So I hope that this mini tutorial helps you, that you find it helpful, that you like it, and I will be recording many more videos for you to try to learn different poses that seem impossible and slowly achieve them. So I'll see you on the mat. Namaste.